You can get more analysis on this from Nader Hashemi. He is director of the Center of Middle East Studies at the University of Denver. Nader Hashemi, if we assume it is the Palestinians doing this work today, why do it now and in this way?
Well, first of all, let me condemn these attacks. I think they're morally indefensible. Politically, I think one has to look at the enveloping, socioeconomic and national context that the Palestinians are facing today. They're living under occupation. There's no peace process. They are governed by a very corrupt Palestine Authority. And, every day there's rising settler attacks against Palestinians. Over 700 Palestinian structures have been demolished just today in the southern part of the West Bank. In the Musafir Yatta region, a school was demolished. And so that's really, I think, the backstory to this. I don't think we can sort of analyze these particular, horrific attacks without looking at the broader context. And that broader context is of deep and expanding Palestinian despair, frustration, anger, and resentment that unfortunately, produces this type of violence by some Palestinians.
And the hiatus in Israeli politics, does that mean there is nothing to talk about? There is no hope, is there? There's no way forward to any kind of putative peace because there's no one to talk to right now.
Well, there are people to talk to. The problem is that Israel, which holds all of the cards, doesn't want to talk to the Palestinians in any meaningful way that would lead to, a resolution of this conflict, because Israel effectively is in the driver's seat. The Palestinians have been abandoned, not just by, the European Union, by the United States, by Canada, but increasingly by their own, Arab neighbors. All of these Arab states have struck these separate deals with Israel, abandoning a longstanding, Arab position that peace entailed, land in exchange for peace. That's all gone. And of course, we had an election, as you alluded to just a moment ago, in Israel, where Benjamin Netanyahu is coming back into power with the most right-wing, hawkish coalition of political parties that Israel has ever seen, including this potential new Israeli security minister, a man by the name of Itamar Ben-gvir, who, is vowing to crack down very hard on the Palestinians for these types of attacks, which will most likely just perpetuate this cycle of violence.
And is it a factor, it seems almost churlish to say so, that the world doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with two conflicts? The Arab-Israeli conflict is long-standing. The Ukrainian and Russian conflict seems to be taking all the attention at the moment.
You're right. I mean, the Western world especially, is focusing on Ukraine. But I think the problem is not a question of bandwidth. It's really a question of, in my view, the total collapse or lack of any sort of Palestinian leadership that can organize and mobilize their own community, but critically organize, the international community, global civil society, to press for a just resolution, of this conflict. That's nowhere in the cards. And then you have, really cowardly, politicians, particularly in the country that I'm speaking from, the United States, that, rhetorically will say things about, equality between Israelis and Palestinians, but there's no, serious interest or appetite or plan to invest any political energy in trying to solve the Israel-Palestine conflict. So Israel knows these things. It's in the driver's seat. It has no reason to make any concessions to the Palestinians. So unfortunately, for the foreseeable future, this conflict is going to continue. We're going to see more loss of life on behalf of the, both Israelis and Palestinians, disproportionately on the Palestinian side, because they're the weaker party. And this conflict is going to continue in ways that we've, seen it continue. But of course, the big difference here is the level of violence here is, rising, which will, generate more media attention. But I think very little political initiatives are on the horizon that can, give at least the Palestinians some hope for a better future.
Nader Hashemi, thank you very much indeed.